Cool. All right, what's up, everybody? Doing an interview here with the man, the myth, the legend, Cookie himself. Introduce yourself real fast.
Yeah, Cookie himself, brother of Rome himself. But no, I am Cookie. I go by CookieFGC on all my socials. I am a uni KOF/SNK commentator. You guys might have seen me on the mic at a couple different events. I like to play fighting games. I like to commentate fighting games, and I'm a massive nerd for everything fighting games.
He is like usually when we room together or hang out together at most events, we just talk a lot of bullshit about fighting games and other stuff in
Oh
between.
man, yeah, that's true.
Okay, so I'm gonna start doing this thing where instead of me giving you all the questions first, you get to ask me any one question you want that I have to answer.
Ooh. I can't ask that question. I was
Put it
not on stream.
put it in chat real fast. Let me see. I'll do it anyway.
Is that? I don't think we could do that one.
Not yet. Not yet. A different time. A different time.
We gotta bring back hashtag Free Fox.
I have that image on my phone. Yeah, I have that image on my phone. I'll put up that image when the event starts.
Hmm. Question.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Ooh. I know you wanted to do 2XKO when it came out, but do you have any interest in doing City of the Wolves?
Oh yeah, I love that. What's it called? When 2XK, sorry, when City of Wolves was when it first initially came out, I was like, oh shit, I fucking love Garo because I used to play a lot of Garo because I have a Dreamcast and I have a copy of Garo, and I used to play that like whenever my parents weren't on my ass about playing fighting games. I used to play Garo like so much that Marvel 2, but I played a shitload of Garo. I loved all the characters in there. And then when I heard City of Wolves was coming, I was like, all right, I'm in there because like I do usually have a good interest in a lot of fighting games that come out that are new, and I like whatever systems they have. So, because I like Halo 15, I wasn't expecting to like 15 as much as I did, and I was like, damn, this is good. And I kind of, by proxy, just absorbed knowledge from everybody that I know who liked 15 as well, so I kind of just got it. So that's why we did commentary a bunch of times, and I was just like, damn, this is fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, we got the new beta coming up. I'm excited, but that game's a lot of fun to play. It feels way better than Garo, but I think that's just because old age, different input buffer system.
Yes, definitely. I think that covers that. Shh. Yeah, I think that covers that. Okay, that's a good question. The other question's way better, but that's
The
that's
other one's way more controversial.
yeah. It determines if we'll talk about that later. Okay. So first question, you've already answered who you are, but where are you from?
I currently live in Florida. I am originally, though, from the smallest state in the United States. For those who don't know what that is Rhode Island. I am originally a New Englander of 18 years before I moved down to Florida, which is why a lot of my mannerisms and the way that I speak seem very northern, even if I do live in Florida right now. I exude the energy of a Florida man, but with the sass and shit talk of a northerner.
You really do though. Like like if you well, that's because you were in Boston, so I guess you just kind of got it. Also, I didn't know. Should I say this now? No, I'll say this in this question. When did you start playing fighting games?
Oh. So what do we constitute as fighting games? Do we count Smash? Do we
Yes,
do we count Smash as a
yes,
fighting?
because
Then
the
Jesus,
pipeline. So unironically, the pipeline from Smash to fighting games is actually very
it's common.
yeah. It's like almost a 1-to-1 in many situations. It's crazy.
Yes, I started playing competitive. So I think I had played Melee for a little bit. I didn't like play it super competitive.
Mm.
Smash 4 came out, and I decided to go a little bit harder with that. And then I realized I just didn't like how that game felt, so I went back to Melee back, I'd say, competitively, like 2014, 2015. And I had played Melee competitively, found out what Project M was, And then I picked up Project M, thought that some of those characters were the coolest iterations that they could ever be. Shoutouts to PM Ike, still one of the coolest designed characters in any single game ever. I don't care what you have to say. Side B canceled up smash is one of the most adrenaline pumping things to do ever in any game. I started playing competitive Melee and Project M back 2014, 2015. Because I remember going to the first Super Smash Con.
Jesus.
Yeah.
God damn, brother.
Yeah. I was like 16 at the time when I went to that. It was like 15 or 16 at the time when I went to my first Smash Con.
Were you grinding out there, bro? Were you trying to get sets in?
Oh god, what? That Smash Con was a fever dream. Because I remember. Oh man, was that the same event that I stayed with Doomhammer? No, that was Pound. Wow. I forgot I went to Pound too. It was like Pound 2015 or 2016.
That's like the third pound or some shit, isn't it? Third or fourth pound?
I think so, because I remember they took a break for a while.
Mm.
Like they did like the first two and then took a break and then they revitalized it.
Yeah.
But God, that one was a fever dream. I don't remember if I was grinding. I remember watching the combo contests. I remember playing a little bit of Melee and a little bit of PM. I remember watching my friend have to fight Armada on stream.
Oof.
But I think I grinded a little bit of PM. I think I went 0-2 in PM because like everyone there was some of the best PM players in the country. I think I got smoked by one of my roommates who plays Snake. And then I think I just lost to some Luigi and losers because I'm bad at video games. I don't think I really grinded like that though. Though my form of grinding, like video games, was not improved until I started actually playing the normal fighting games that we're used to.
Which leads into my next question. When did you start playing Uni?
Jesus. I started playing Uni back in 2017. Funny enough that you bring this up, the other day we were in the Southeast Discord talking about when we sent our first message in the Unicord. I went back, and I thought the first time I interacted with the scene was Otaku 2017. Turns out, my first message in the Unicord was from July 7th of 2017, because I had bought EL, and then I guess I joined the Discord. And I just started talking to people, because back then I played Linne. Jesus. So I guess I started playing back then in July of 2017. And when I went to see Otaku, because I had finally moved to Florida in September of 2017, I guess I started playing the game full time because that was when I bought the Hong Kong version of ST.
Yes. Everyone's done that. I feel like most Uni players have at least bought the game at least twice in their lifetime. It doesn't matter which version. At least twice they've done it. Because
I mean, we had to back then. We didn't get simultaneous releases.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Listen, bro, I remember buying the Hong Kong version of several anime fighters that were only released in Asian countries.
Bro, when I did that for ST, I think a bunch of us were just we had already figured out how to buy it for Blaze Blue and Persona, so we were just like, yeah, we already know what to do. Here's all this information, just do it. All new players doing that. Here you go, get it. So that it wasn't new to a lot of us, but it was more like, we got to make sure people know what to do. Okay,
listen, man, that was our English translation. We couldn't slack.
I still remember a lot of people in because I remember 2017 was the year where a lot more people than normal had started to play Uni before the 2019 explosion that came out of nowhere, and I was like, well, what the fuck is this? Remember 2019 happened? Like
the 2019 Renaissance was crazy. Jushichi's like top 8 and a tournament entrance sheet was just full of 2019 tournaments.
Yup. And that shit was huge. Oh, let's see.
It was crazy. I mean, that was when we got into our first Evo.
Oof. Oof. Let's see.
I still can't believe I made that lineup.
I mean, kind of nasty, bro. Kind of pretty good, if I may say so myself. You already said that you played Linne at first, right?
Yeah. Gross. I know.
So I'll skip that
Can't believe.
question. So why do you play who you play now?
Oh, this is actually what I was trying to think of to myself because I was like, when the hell did I start playing Gordeau? I think it was just like, it was a combination of Lene did not seem very straightforward, at least not as straightforward as she is now.
Hmm.
Um, like because funny enough, before I played Uni, I had played Current Code, which is why I picked Lene. Because I touted her as the quote unquote Ryoji function. Nowhere near that.
Nope.
Absolutely nowhere near
No,
that.
sir.
Nowhere near the same character.
Jesus Christ, bro. You could be more wrong.
Um, listen, bro, she had the tiny dagger. I was ready.
And then
But
you saw it and you're like, oh, dang it.
yeah, and then I played her and I went, this is not my mid-tier F Moon Ryoji right now.
Ugh.
So I was like, I was kind of searching for a character for a while, and I always know that I'm not the great at execution in fighting games. Because even when I play DOA, because I played DOA before I played Uni, I just wasn't doing good movement or anything like that. That's why I played a very basic character in Narutora, because like she literally does auto combos. It's awesome. So I was looking for a straightforward character that I thought that I would enjoy. And Gordo was a good character for that. Simple character, simple game plan, and he has long range tools. While also, you know, having ways to get people off of him is probably what I thought at the time. Because I mean, it's literally just like 5C Mortal Slide is your neutral, and then when you get up in their face, you have a plethora of buttons that you can press with varying frame data. So I was just like, this is probably the most straightforward character I can play, and like his basic combos are probably some of the easiest in Under Night.
But we still see people drop those.
Listen, bro, I
What?
don't know what to tell Under Night players anymore.
That they have no hands?
Kyo has won several Japanese tournaments off the back of doing 2C jump charge JC.
Yes.
So I don't know what to tell people.
He's just better, bro. That's why he's going to the finals in a few days.
True. It is very true.
Yeah, I guess I can ask this question now. Why did you want to start doing commentary? I guess twofold. Why did you want to start commentary in the first place? And then why did you want to do it for Uni?
Ooh. So this is gonna be a long story.
Go ahead, bro.
So back in New England, we used to have our fighting game community was called Havenshine. And then I met what was my mentor for a couple of years. His name is Lord Xavier. If anyone has played Smash in the Northeastern scene, you know who Lord Xavier is. He plays the Fire Emblem characters. He typically plays Lucina and a couple others. He also does coaching lessons. He was my mentor for a while. Because back then I got into Street Fighter 5, and then I got into KOF 14. But he was one of the heads of our local. And he was a DOA 5 last round player. So through him, I got into playing DOA 5 because a lot of people in our group were playing it. So we would travel to tournaments for it. And like I was really into fighting games. I was really into talking about them, and he would constantly egg me to get on the mic for our locals, whether we were recording it or actually doing it live. He's like, "Bro, get on the mic and just talk. Like, you don't need to sound smart. You don't need to sound any of that. Just get on the mic and just talk. Like, you're obviously very passionate about this. Just go ahead and do it." So I would get on the mic for KOF. I'd get on the mic for DOA, and I would just yap. I would just say stuff. Like, we wouldn't have it all the time. Like, we were basically like a poverty scene, but we would get the chance to, and I would just talk and talk and talk. And when we started traveling, especially for a lot of my first tournaments were Big E tournaments, at least for the greater fighting game scene, like Winter Brawl, Summer Jam, NEC. Like, I would try to get on the mic there and commentate. Like, I did it for DOA at NEC a couple of times. And then I did it at Winter Brawl, I think, for both KOF and DOA, because that's how I met the Kick Punch Block guys. And when I traveled for KOF 14, I ended up hopping on the mic a lot more because they needed someone, and I was already doing it a little bit at the locals. So I was like, commentary thing's kind of fun, and it gives me an outlet to talk about something that I'm passionate about. Um, because it's like at the end of the day, like when you really like something, you get like the nerdy app where you just incontrollably talk about something for hours on end. That
Oh
was what commentary was to me because I was an impressionable young child. Um, and then for Under Night, it was just a case of the same thing. Like it was one of the fighting games at the time that I was super invested into playing. Like I got to know the player base. I got to play a lot. Playing the game was super fun because no other game felt like it. There was no other game with as smooth, grounded movement as Under Night was. Because even KOF 14, like a lot of that game is jumps, and learning jumps is a significantly big step up than learning how to uni dash block. So it was just like when I started playing uni more and I moved to Florida, I was given the opportunity to not only, host locals, but also commentate for some of our locals. Um, there used to be CEO used to host events around here every 2 or 3 months. And I remember specifically, shout outs to Luca. We usually call him Lucas. He used to work for CEO. We ran an event called CEO Winterfest in like February, March of like 2018 or 2019 or something like that. Um, and no one was doing commentary for Uni, but Uni had stream time. Lucas was like, "Get the hell up on the mic." So I just got up on the mic and I talked over like this top 8 bracket that was like some of the worst Uni gameplay you've ever seen in your life. Like I think the only person that was good was Argon Ross.
Jesus
But
Christ.
like I had commentated for that, and then I was given the opportunity a couple months later. Shout outs to those who remember Red Bull Conquest.
Oy.
I was given the opportunity to commentate Rev 2. Don't ever listen to that. I had never played Guilty Gear, did not know what Rev 2 was. The only person I knew how to commentate was Mystic because I understood what Biken did, and that was it. But I was just given the opportunity more down here because there wasn't a lot of Florida-based commentators.
Right.
Like we had Yasian and Rafi Toro, but it's like they weren't doing it consistently.
Mhm.
And there was like, if you weren't a Marvel commentator or like Street Fighter or Tekken, like you had no commentators. So I picked up the mantle of doing a lot of the games that people weren't doing, which is why I did Under Night, which is why I did KOF. I did DOA when we had it. I did Gundam when we still were playing the Gundam versus Tech demo.
Sheesh.
It was just like no one was doing it and the opportunity was there, and I already enjoyed talking about these games because at that time I was also practically solo hosting our locals while I was still in college. It's like every Tuesday we would host locals. I would pull up to have people pull up and bring their setups. We'd host it out of the back of a card game shop. And I was doing that solo every Tuesday for about 5 or 6 months before I graduated.
Oh, that shit is rough. Like hosting your own local and then like bringing the setups and then tell people that you have to go and then probably streaming and doing commentary by yourself.
Yeah, I would usually bring the stream setup. The locals would typically bring their setups. I would have my PS4, but like one setup's not gonna fuel a local.
Right.
So it was like the group effort of people bring their setups for whatever you want to play. When we did streams, I would bring my PC, because we had all the equipment for it, and then I would bring my setup, and then we'd run brackets for whatever, if people wanted to and things like that. But it was a lot, like juggling school and then also running locals. It was like every week. Like I wasn't even thinking about it at the time how tiring it was all gonna get. I was just doing it. So it was just like I was so engrossed in what fighting games were, like especially the community around here, and I was given the opportunity to just be able to host and commentate for a lot of these games.
And then you got older and you realize like, man, this shit is kind of unforgiving. I'll say that. I'll say that right now.
Yeah, I mean, you gain perspective, right? The
Yeah.
more you grow older, then you get experience. You gain perspective on things, which is why I now have like a lane in which I do commentary. I don't try to commentate every game. I only commentate the games I like playing because it makes the process significantly easier.
And it also improves your own personal growth as a commentator.
Yeah.
All right, that was a good backstory. I wasn't expecting that, but I feel like people are more inclined to talk about their own backstories if you give them the chance to say like, okay, how did you get to do this? And they're like, all right, I have to think about this, and they just go, and I'm like, yes, good. I got people to
Well,
think.
it's all about asking the right question, right?
Yeah, which is
Like
hard.
the keys to interviewing are not asking questions that can be answered yes or no. You have to phrase your questions in a way that forces them to at least respond with a sentence rather than single words.
Hmm. Well, it's easier for you because I know that like we talk a lot, so it's not hard for us to
Yeah.
fucking like we do commentary together, so it's like this isn't hard. Mm, okay, next question. How do you feel about the progression from clear to Uni 2?
In terms of balance, in terms of player base, in
You
terms of commentary, what are we talking about?
all yes.
Okay.
Go ham.
So Jesus. So I think in terms of balance, I'll start with that because like there's always the talk around the community, like especially with the boomers versus zoomers, how people think ST was like the mecca of what the game was. And I'm not gonna lie, like that was the game that I grew into uni with. That was the game I played a lot. That was the game I knew the most about. And when it started to shift to clear in uni 2, there was like a scared part of me that was like, I'm going to lack knowledge. I'm going to not understand what's happening. And like as a commentator, that's not something I want to do. I want to understand as much as possible. I want to know as much as possible. So like there's the fear of new knowledge entering where I'm just like, not my game anymore. But I think in terms of balance, I think we've reached one of the best points in Under Night's life. I know we were talking about it at the end of ST, like Uni is one of the most quote unquote balanced fighting games in the market, which you could argue yes or no based on ST Wagner, ST Batista, ST Yuzu, and Seth.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could argue that. I don't really care. I played a bottom tier character and he's only mid tier in this version now. But I think we've reached probably one of the best points. Everyone has tools. I think with the latest patch, everyone has the chance to interact unless your name is still Chaos. Good luck.
Yeah, Godspeed.
Godspeed. I think everyone has tools that can do things in the version, so I think it's gotten to a better point. I don't know why the hell we're still buffing characters that don't need it, but that's where we at.
You can say Carmine.
I think in terms of system changes, I think the game has progressed in a way that benefits 90% of the player base rather than does your character have a VO strip? No, you suck.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the entirety of late game ST was, can your character combo into VO strip? If you can't, good luck. In terms of player base, I think again, it's at the best point that we've had because not only do we have strong players that can compete on an international scale, we also have at this point some of the most knowledgeable players we've ever had in Under Night's history. Like before, I'd probably say like some of the most knowledgeable people in the player base was like Tori.
Yes,
Tari was the nut who would find everything that's like strange as shit. And like he would bring that up a lot on commentary. But now it's like we have several people that can do that. Like we have Fox of like Tari still exists, not as much in the forefront. And then you have like the people who grind like crazy. Like Cheesy would be for Nanase. Definitely one of the craziest to try to find individual things about a character. You have Foxov doing it for both Batista and Lon, probably the pioneers of both of those characters. And it's just like a lot of people are significantly higher on the knowledge, which is why we compete better on an international scale. Like Defi, not in terms of like niche specific knowledge, but overall knowledge of knowing so many different characters and what they do is just like that's also a big boon to a lot of what is happening. I think in terms of commentary, I think that there's an interesting shift back from what we had in ST with who we had commentating more often compared to now. Because I think back in ST we had a lot of older commentators in terms of age and things like that. Because we had Suika commentating more often. We had Tari commentating more often. Tari still commentates, but not as frequently as he used to back in ST. He used to travel a lot. And since the pandemic, that hasn't happened as frequently. But Suika also hasn't had the chance to travel because Jesus Christ, traveling from Canada is way too much money.
Agreed.
And I think that there's a new subset of commentators that are coming out that are trying to take commentary as seriously. I'll say it here and I'll say it again. If the commentators who want to commentate Uni want to commentate it more often, especially at majors, you need to choose between doing commentary and actually competing. There comes a time when you become one of the best commentators for your game where you cannot do both. You need to pick one or the other because you will not get slots that you're looking for if you end up doing both.
I would agree.
I keep
Yes.
dropping my cards.
No, you're good. I also agree with that sentiment because that's why I stopped playing in brackets period, because I would somehow get like top 48, close to top 24, and I'd be like, oh, I just have to DQ now because this is where my block would be, and then people would be like, oh wait, so you just DQ'd? I'm like, yeah, and they're like, what the fuck's wrong with you? I'm like, okay, I'll just.
I mean, it literally happened last year at TNS when they hosted TNS 9 the regional.
Yeah,
I was supposed to commentate top 8. Lo and behold, commentators can play video games. I made top 8.
Nah, we can't play video games, bro. What are you talking about?
And yeah, it's true. And I've known for years that like I needed to choose at some point to commentate or compete, and I chose commentary. So I had talked to you before that set because I had watched that player play, and I went, no, I need to win. Like there was like this weird form of like aggression / adrenaline in me that was like, I can beat this guy. I need to commit to the bit and just make top 8.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up making top 8, and then I was tasked with finding a replacement for myself because I didn't want to DQ. Like, shout out to SKD. I'm not pulling an SKD. I want to compete in my top 8. Shout out to SKD playing or doing, what was it, Izuyoi combos at the MagFest room.
I think so. Yeah.
I love that shit. But I wasn't gonna DQ myself out of top 8. Like, that's not how I want to play on the stage. I want to, like, even though I lost to Malarkey 2-0, what the hell ever, I wanted to play on the stage. And it's like, that's why I had Squish commentate in my place. Squish knows a lot about the game. Like, Squish is probably one of the best Akkas when it comes to a knowledge base that's not Jushichi. So I was like, I'll just put Squish up in my place. And then I almost had it happen again at Beach episode later that year because I literally got 9th. Like, I was probably 1 or 2 interactions away from actually like beating Carp.
I remember. I was there. I saw it.
Yeah, you guys watched that set. But that's why it was just like, I was like, well, kind of thank God I lost because I get to make top 8 anyways, quote unquote, because I'm commentating it. But it was just like, there's a reason that like I don't enter brackets at majors. People keep asking me, and it's just like, there is some brackets I want to enter because I still have a little bit of fuel of the fire in competing because I still like playing and I like playing well. But it's just like, there comes a point where you have to choose. And now that like I'm commentating 2 or 3 games a major, I can't compete anymore. Like, it's not going to happen. If I'm doing 6 to 8 hours of commentary for an event weekend, there's no time to fill that with competing, especially on the off chance that I make it out of pools or I make it out of top 48 or what the hell ever else.
Because that does compromise your position already. Because usually, to the detriment of a lot of tournament organizers, they don't have backups. They don't have scheduled backups for, hey, if this person makes it out because they've been seeded to probably get X place in the tournament, which is higher than where we expected, which is also part of their assigned blocks. We need someone who can cover that. We need someone who's like not in the bracket at all, so that we don't have to worry about that commitment happening somewhere else. So I do agree with you, and I think committing to just being a commentator is not a bad thing. It's just that like you have to know where I do agree with you. You have to know where your competitive drive lies and make a choice if you want to take this more seriously. Is what I want to say. I don't know, man. Sometimes I think about this shit. I'm just like, why are we still doing this?
I mean, shit, I'm trying to do it for Digimon. I've been
Oh
playing
yeah,
the fuck out of
yeah.
Digimon.
You told me about. You actually haven't told me about that in a little bit.
Like I've had really bad sleep lately, so there's like the hours from 3 to 6 a.m. where I'm just playing Digimon.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just putting games in, bro. It don't matter. It's just like it's a problem.
Oof. You kind of touched on this prior, but how do you feel about the most recent patch of Uni 2? So, when I made this question for Lid, I think the last time I interviewed him, we didn't really have a good idea of what the patch was going to be like. But now that this most recent patch came out like 3 weeks ago, how do you feel about it?
I mean, I think in terms of system changes, like mechanic changes, I think it's one of the best that we've had. Like 3D having more of a window for you to throw punish it. Guard thrust being higher, easier to punish, but like easier to input out, especially like on the off chance your input gets eaten. I think a lot of those are good system changes. I think some of the character changes are pretty good. I think Hyde 660 needed to be shot. There's still other egregious things about that character, but you know, Kamone, step in the right direction. I think Kuon being shot, but holy shit, his normal's got a lot of buffs. I didn't even see that originally. I don't understand that one. I think it is steps in the right direction for potentially what could be one more balance patch when Izumi drops. I like the version, or I like the state of the game that we're in right now, especially because Gordo actually got some useful goddamn buffs. He's good, like actually a solid mid tier now. Shout out to my 2 frame 6A. I think that Carmine receiving buffs and no nerfs is
Diabolical.
a decision.
Yeah, I don't.
Certainly a decision.
I do understand. Like, hey, you don't want to make a character who's perceived as top tier less fun because they're just too strong. You want them to still have combo routes and have them do the cool thing, right? But like, I I I don't know if they don't know what to do with him yet, and they're just like, fuck it, this is what he would have later, and we'll nerf him later. Maybe that's the plan. I don't know. I'm not a game developer.
We gotta up the scaling on Charge 6C. Stop having it do fucking 4.3k when you
damage.
open someone up in the corner.
His dive
shit don't make no sense.
His dive still does mad damage too if you route it correctly. It just adds like 400 damage almost. So he just chunks you.
I need notes to sign up for the LCQ last minute and just
kill everybody,
beat everyone, just so Kamone can truly see what a monster of a character he's created.
That would.
But no, I think the game is in a really good state currently. I think outside of a few outliers, which is going to happen when you're balancing a cast of 20 plus characters, there is characters that are going to still suck. There is characters that are still going to be very strong. But I think like in terms of system mechanics, like relating to character strengths this version, I think we are in one of the best spots that we could be. Rip to my Chaos mains. One day, Kamone will actually fix your character.
One day, bro.
But that is not today, so I recommend playing another character. I've been learning Merkava.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, I've been, yeah.
Huh. Okay. I thought you were learning Nanase, bro.
I did. I was playing Nanase for a while, and then Nanase got power crept this patch, and I found that pretty funny. She can still do crazy stuff. Whether you want to play that or not with doing no damage is entirely up to you. I can't believe she does some of the worst damage in this version with some of the shit some of those top tiers are getting away with.
Just do 214X, bro. That's what you gotta do.
That's why I'm playing Merkava instead, though, because worms stay out when I block.
Yes.
But I think now is probably like one of the best times we've seen for balance. I think outside of like outliers like Chaos and Carmine, I think a lot of other characters are in a great spot. Mika is now in an insane spot. I can't believe the changes that they made to her to actually make her function in this version. So, you know, big ups. They're going in some correct directions, other characters, but we won't see what the full vision is until Izumi comes out, unless there's a plan to do more balance patches after Izumi.
I would be I would be impressed if Izumi drops balance patch and they're like, hey, like maybe 6 months later, like, hey, final balance patch, here you go, and we're just like, oh shit, this is pretty reasonable. That would be pretty impressive. But I I do think people should quell their expectations a little bit because balancing fighting games is hard, and usually there are very few well balanced fighting games that you could be like, oh yeah, this cast is not egregious in one direction or the other, or too many people don't have disagreements with placements and characters.
We're almost reaching Nirvana, but
That'll never happen, bro. Nirvana does not exist.
but
It's there to,
Kamane has 6 more months to cook up one of the worst balance patches you've ever seen in a video
bro. I
game.
can't. I want Uni 1.0 like. Hey, I want Unity 2 1.0 like Redux or some shit. Give me that shit back again. I just need people crying about dying at like 5k HP again.
Listen, bro. I mean, he called Uniclear Rainbow Edition, so
Uh, it's
but there's still the opportunity to go even lower.
oof. I'm good on that. Oof. Okay. What are some of your honest opinions about the community and their involvement into pushing the game to other players?
Ooh, so this is actually something that I thought about a little while ago. How like social media interaction is certainly a thing in the modern age.
Yes.
Whether you should limit your social media interaction is entirely up to you and your mental state and your perspective. Because unlike most people who get garbage in their FYP, I get Hatsune Miku. Get on my level, nerds. So I don't open Twitter and immediately hate life because my stuff is filled with things that I enjoy to look at. In terms of spreading it to other players, I think the content game in 2 has gotten a lot better. There's a lot more people pushing content. There's Lid, there's Tom Clancy, Foxev has uploaded more videos. There's been a lot more involvement on updating things on Replay Theater or Mizumi. I don't think there's been a significant social media push to try to bring in other players, nor do I think there should be. I think the best way to get players is through organic interest, where they see these things happening, they become interested, they like the things they see happening, they continue playing. Which is why I think like the content game and the replay theater and the Mizumi being updated is good for the game, because it just allows people to organically insert themselves into the game without someone in your ear telling you Little Caesar's Pizza sucks rather than just eating Little Caesar's Pizza. So I think that I don't think there needs to be a massive push. I think the community is the state that it's in still has a lot of interest. I mean, like when we pull up to majors, it's like 300 plus entrants. There's
Usually,
not a
yeah.
lot of games nowadays. There's not a lot of games nowadays pulling those numbers unless you're a big named game.
Well, I think that's I don't want to cut you off, but I think that's due to the fact that people just kind of pigeonhole themselves into thinking, oh, I have to play Street Fighter, I have to play Tekken, I have to play Strive, I have to play what's the other game? I think it's just those three right now that are like considered like really high entrance that has a lot of high entrance in them, and everything else like on any given day it could go from like Grand Blue having to 500 people to barely 80 people, even though I think 80 people is still like a good number to have in a tournament.
Yeah. I mean, LCQ has like what, 60 entrants or something like that for Undernight, which
Is it?
is still a good number. It's just like not a lot of people have money travel to the West Coast, so it's a lot of West Coast people that went. Well, I still think it's a good number for what Undernight is and what the prize pool is and all that. But I think that until there becomes a massive need to influx like players into the community, which I don't think we're anywhere near that. I mean, the Unicord gets new people showing up every goddamn day. Like there's new people in so many of the character channels. Like we've had new Gordo players come in. Like LFGPC gets filled with new people like always. I don't think like we need to pull pull players or community members in at a on like a social media kind of tug like pull them into the community. And I think like especially because we're doing the Danisons now, there's more content being uploaded to the game than ever, and there's more ways for people to interact with the game outside of just tournaments, streams. That's it. Like the Danisons in their own way curate a almost locals kind of environment, but in online, if you can't actually get to your locals. And I think things like that are good because not everything needs to be tied to a tournament. Not everything needs to be like that. And especially when you talk to Danison people, you build your own community where you talk to them more often. I know the Southeast Discord, we have VCs every goddamn day. We're not playing Uni all the time. Sometimes we're playing Digimon. Sometimes we're playing dog shit like Final Fantasy 13. AC, I can't believe you. But like other people are playing other games in there. We're talking about other things. Like we talk about music all the time. They talked about Ace Attorney today. Like you build communities that way where it's organic and you're meeting people and you're interacting with real people, regardless if it's through a screen or not. You're not interacting with NPCs or bots.
Man, that's crazy. You're telling me that I could use the internet to actually talk with people, even though I don't have to interact with them through, social media such as, well, I guess Discord can be seen as social media, but it's more personal as opposed to like Twitter, where it can be seen by everybody and you have to like interact with other nobodies who show up and just to give their opinions, quote unquote, wrong or right. Are you telling me that that's what's going on? Why do you have that? Why do you have that? What the fuck?
I was like, I'll wait till he stops talking because this will be really funny.
Oh
Listen, bro,
god,
that's kind of sus. You're telling me you can interact with real people? Kind of sus,
that's
bro.
it's kind of sus. It's wild. Hmm. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, that was it. It's just like I don't feel like on social media we need to actively pull people in. I feel like there's a lot of avenues right now for people to get interested in the game where less we need to ask people to play the game. People can just watch the game and then they'll get interested through that. I mean, you've seen some of the comments on the major videos or the major like top 8s where people watch it and they're like, "Oh, this game's really interesting," and the commentary's good or the players were good or whatever have you, and it's like I want to try this game. Obviously the thing that deters people is quote unquote Discord fighter, but don't try to play ranked at 3 a.m.
That's what I'm, bro. So many people be like, "Oh, I don't want to play X fighting game because it's a Discord fighter." I'm like, it's 2020. Well, at the time it's like 2024. You most likely have a phone or a laptop or a personal computer. If you don't have any of those things, you might have a console. The consoles still have Discord. I feel like most people who play fighting games to some extent have Discord, and they just don't want to add another quote unquote Discord to their list. But I feel like more people are lazier today than they were like maybe let's say 10 years ago.
Listen,
What?
I'm already at like the 200 server limit, so
I thought it was
it don't
100.
matter to me. Oh no, Nitro lets you have 200.
That's a lot.
Listen, bro, I got problems. I got a lot of hobbies.
I mean, it's good to have hobbies. You stay occupied. You don't sit in your own personal void thinking time is nigh.
It's true. I'm in a lot of music discords now.
That's because you're a DJ,
Oh,
bro.
God help me.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But what are some words of wisdom you can give to people who are afraid to try out Uni?
Ooh. Ooh. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, everyone says it, but like more often than not, people get like that anxiety because they see interactions on Twitter where like people are condescending to people who don't have information. But it's like, don't be afraid to ask questions. 90% of the character reps who know their stuff are not awful people who are going to tear your head off for asking a beginner question. We have people coming into the Gordo chat all the time asking why this combo doesn't work, asking how to fight that character, asking how to do pressure on wake up. It's just like, ask questions. The information will be given to you if you ask for it. There's a lot of information on the wiki. Don't be afraid to open it up. If reading is not your thing, there's a lot more video guides coming out. Shout outs to Jinta for doing the Know Your In-Birth series.
Yep.
I think they plan on doing the whole cast, so if your character is not done yet, he just did Akatsuki recently. Wait for him to upload a video. He will do everything in video content if you don't like reading the wiki. There's probably some other character guides out there. the pins in each channel will most likely have some video guides for your characters. Gordo has a combo one. We don't have like an actual like neutral or defense one. We just have a combo one. One thing I'll always tell fighting game players, especially like if this is one of your first fighting games, take things slow. You don't need to win every game. There can be some games you play just to build the experience, build information, use the information for another set. Realistically, when you're playing online and not in a tournament, you should be playing games to learn, not playing games to win. There's a very different mindset when it goes into doing those types of things. If you enter a net play bracket, sure, play to win. But when you're playing for ranked points or you're playing in a room match, like play to learn so you can then better yourself later on, rather than throwing yourself at a brick wall trying to win against a person who could be on your skill level or who could be way better. Just don't overload yourself. Burnout is a real thing. Take your time at doing things. If you need to take a break, go for it. You're not going to become worse at the game because you take a break. You can actually become significantly better at the game after you take a break because you get a different perspective when you come back to the game. If you watch more content and play less, you can actually build a very different perspective on how to go about fixing your game plan or even just approaching the game. So I recommend doing things like that. If Lily Pichu uploaded any of her goddamn YouTube videos, you could see a brand new person play Under Night.
I think she did.
Spent like an hour and a half doing one Uzuki combo.
I'm pretty sure it's like if she has a VOD channel, it probably exists there. I'll look at it after. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it exists. And yeah, when I saw that, I was like, oh, she's playing the game, which a lot of people do like. They like seeing someone who is as vulnerable as them playing a game that's not their wheelhouse, and they see that person kind of like go through the struggles that they would go through, but then they see them actually finish the thing they think is really hard, and you're like, oh, I could do that too.
Like, if you need people to look up to, there's new people playing all the time, but I mean, Lily Pichu is the most obvious recent example that's like a big name. Tekken player comes to play Under Night, has no idea what the hell to do because nothing is the same, movement's not the same, combos are not the same, input buffer is not the same. I think just don't be afraid to ask questions, learn at your own pace, don't burn yourself out. There's tons of information out there for you to consume, whether it's visual or reading. Join your Danisons. That also helps.
Yes, if you're in North America and you don't know what we're talking about, exclamation point Dynison and whatever stream you might be in for uni, and that might give you the information you want, or just ask somebody.
It's also in the Unicord. There's a Danison. This is just the Danison info channel. It'll have the different regions around the U.S. that you can join, and you can join based on your region. There's a lot of new players who join the Danisons, and especially those Discords. Like, I know for Southeast, like, within the last, like, month, we've had, like, 10 new people, like, straight new to Under Night, like, join the Danison to play, or join the Discord to play. So, like, don't be afraid to join those Discords. There's more than enough people that you can find on your skill level, and more than enough people who are willing to teach you. I know for the Southeast guys, we do, like, a VOD review almost weekly if people ask for it. So we help to level people up because it sucks when there's only like 3 people at the peak and no one's there to fight them.
Yep. So last thing, is there anything you would like to plug? You just talked about the Danisons. Would you like to expound a little bit more about that? And then anything else you have going on that you want to like tell people about?
Ooh, yeah, I mean, again, if you join the Unicord, I don't know if we have a link on the Mizumi. I feel like we should.
That would be smart. That's a good idea.
Actually, Danison information. The only thing is like we would need to make like a like Danison like
subsection
universal. Well, that I guess you could do that. I was thinking like if it's a link, like a universal Danison doc that has the different regions on it. But I guess you could also do a subsection and just have all the information there. I mean, it's just like you could just like cross post everything from the Unicord, but like if you're in the like Undernight Discord, the Danison info channel will have all the information on your Danisons. If you feel like your state isn't represented, join the closest region. They will most likely take you because stragglers exist. We know that. But if find your region, join the Discord. Read whatever instructions are to actually join the Danison. Join the lobbies when you can, or even fight other people in the Discord, because I know Southeast is popping daily for people that just net play outside of the Danison. Go ahead and do that. I do stream the Southeast Danison typically on Sundays. My Twitch page is twitch.tv/CookieFGC. All of my socials are CookieFGC, my Twitter, my SoundCloud, my Instagram. Speaking of SoundCloud, outside of doing all the commentary and the fighting game stuff, I am a DJ and budding music producer. So I don't have a DJ Twitch yet. I want to make one this year, but I'm doing a whole lot of other things this year. But I upload a lot of my music stuff to Instagram and my SoundCloud. So if you're interested in any of that, you can follow me both there at CookieFGC. I typically DJ around the state of Florida. I do have an event coming up later this month in Tampa for a video game rave, which will be very fun. But I also DJ'd for Climax last year, which I guess ties it all back into fighting games. I was one of the featured DJs for the mix/exhibition junction that Shinobi did. I was one of the DJs for it. I have that mix up on my SoundCloud if you want to go listen to that. It's very old school. It's a genre a lot of people don't know about, which is French house. If you know Daft Punk is French house. But yeah, I do a lot of music stuff. You can follow me there. You can follow me on my socials. For the most part, I just tweet about my stream, and then I retweet Hatsune Miku. So go do that if you want. And then I do comment. I guess also I'm part of TNS, aka Tampa Never Sleeps. So do go subscribe to the Twitch. Go subscribe to the YouTube. They're trying to hit big milestones for that this year. I do commentary typically for KOF and Undernight when they do run them, and I will be doing commentary for City of the Wolves when they run them. So yeah, go show some love. Those are all my socials. CookieFGC at everything. And yeah, that's basically it.
All right, so hopefully I will be seeing you at Max Mode in a few weeks. That's in the ATL tournament for a bunch of games. We'll be doing commentary together, hopefully.
Release week, City of the Wolves tournament.
Oh, I gotta grind for that. Oh man, because I also applied, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think that's it. Hopefully everybody's enjoyed the interview so far up to this point. I'll put links for everything, but yeah, give some love to Cookie. He's been an instrumental part to the uni community, and hopefully I'll have more with him in the future. So thank you all for watching.
Thank you.